is better than gravity. Interstellar stars Matthew McConaughey, Jessica Chastain, Michael Caine, Anne Hathaway, and somebody else who I will tell you after I announce that this is a spoiler review, in case you've missed like all the signposts and stuff. This is a spoiler review, which means I'll be talking about the spoilers. Now, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to move off this if you have not seen Interstellar. Go and see it right now. Starting from now. Okay, that other person who's starring in this film is Matt Damon. As you've probably gathered from the start, I did like this film. In fact, I really liked this film. Is it better than Interstellar? Yes, because that's the same film. Is this Christopher Nolan's best film? No, I still think that is Inception. God, my mind's really not working, but let's go with this. Yeah, Inception is probably still my favourite. It starts off and we get this crash. We get a glimpse of the crash of Matthew McConaughey, whose name I can't remember. We get the crash and stuff happens. We find out about this ghost that his child's having, Murphy, who I actually somehow remember. No, that's why I remember Murphy's Law. Anything that can happen will happen. Or something like that. I think that's it. I don't want to look like an idiot. I already am looking like an idiot, so we might as well go with it. The film basically is about her and Matthew McConaughey and their relationship together. Anyway, we find out that their ghost, well, I didn't see the handle of the ghost coming. I didn't realise that was Matthew McConaughey. Some friends did see it coming. I didn't. I think I might just be blind. We continue on, we get, like, there's a drone that comes along. That's not really that important. I thought that would be more important than it actually is. It's just more like a father-daughter bonding point. That sounds really weird. But yeah, the way I said it sounded really strange, but let's just go with it. Dust's coming from, like, the dust. It's just basically attacking people. It's choking them out. Stuff that it's not actually a being. The dust hasn't gained a consciousness. It's just like dust storms and stuff like that. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just dust storms. I'll get really happy when I actually say what I'm meant to be saying. But yeah, we get the dust storms and they're affecting people, and basically through that dust storm that comes, we get the Morse code. No, it's binary. 0101000001. Right, okay, enough binary. But we find out that it's coordinates, and they head over to Michael Caine and NASA, where we see the robot who I can't remember the name of. He's not Gort. Gort's the guy at not the guy, the robot there stood still, I think. Anyway, but whatever his name is, Terps. No, that's a YouTuber. I don't know, I'm gonna stop trying to suggest names for the robot. Yeah, we're introduced to NASA, and honestly the film, like, before we reach NASA, it's more set up and it's okay. I thought it was going to be quite long and drawn out the second time I watched it, but actually it's not. It's not really that long and drawn out. It's enough to get the story going, but it's not enough to bore you. So that's good. And as soon as NASA comes and stuff, and we find NASA, the whole story just goes figuratively and literally, because the spaceship actually goes. Well, it doesn't, because then it would be like a missile, so the spaceship actually goes up in the air. But you get the point. And found out Michael Caine actually runs the place, and he's saying he's got like this little equation to move the ship and stuff. And there's a plan A in which they save everybody on Earth, and plan B in which they use genetically created samples and stuff like that. Fertilized, I don't know, they're going to plant like humans. I can't think of the word. They're planting humans in the thing, and they can grow up on their own, and they're meant to look after them. And how are they meant to find all these new ships? Well, there's a wormhole that's appeared in the wormhole. The thing I like about it is it's all spherical, it's all spherical. That sounds more American. That's no. Right, stop thinking about stuff. Right, this is a bad time for me not to be able to think, because Interstellar is something that really requires you to think, and this is what the wormhole looks like, because it's a sphere, and that's because it cuts through. They explain it in the film. You know why it's a sphere. I really like all the sciencey stuff, like the relativity which we get, which we'll go through, like when they go through the wormhole. It's pretty amazing. And they go through the wormhole and they arrive at the galaxy, and then they decide that they're heading to this planet which is all water, the water planet which you see in the trailer, and they find out that they can, like, through relativity, they only, an hour on that planet's 7 years. So when they eventually get out, and it's like they go through the wormhole, and yeah, this is not going to end well with me trying to explain this stuff. And they go into the water. They land in the water like through this really speedy entry, and that entry is really awesome. And then we find out the spaceship is actually destroyed, and I'm like, oh no! I feel like I had to include some reaction, otherwise it would just be like a summary. But yeah, we find out that the spaceship is destroyed, and Anne Hathaway being like, I don't know what her character was playing at, but she decides to go and get the data, and I guess it's alright. And then somehow the guy who's like right in front of the spaceship is the one that dies. When we find out like the waters, the mountains and stuff which you see in the trailer, the robot then saves her, and it's going at like 100. I don't know. It's not going at 100. It goes really fast, and the other guy somehow dies, despite the fact he's like right. He could have. Why? I think he must have just been standing there watching the robot just swirl around and stuff. And I don't know. I don't think he should have had to die, especially since he was that guy at the Hunger Games, the first one, the pretty bad one. Well, it's not bad one. It's the okay one. They go up the mountain, the wave mountain, and then they go down this really awesome scene and stuff, and they'll land, and well, we find out the spaceship's stuck, so they can't move. They have to wait for the ventilation system. No, it's not the ventilation system. They have to wait for the exhaust and stuff to dry out. So that they can actually fly, and we find out there's another wave, so they're like, oh my god, and then I'm like, oh my god, and then they somehow managed to do it by like sparking it or something, and apparently they somehow managed to be there for 27 years. I tried at the same time. I was just like, how, like, when they're there for like 27. If it's 27 years that's passed, and 7 years and an hour, they must have been there for just under 4 years. 4 years? No, they haven't. 4 hours. They must have been there for just under 4 hours, which, honestly, I don't even think it was 10 minutes in the film that they were stuck for, so I think maybe it was 15 that they were on the planet for. They didn't even hint that they'd been there that long. I guess maybe the space journey was longer than they thought, but I don't know. I don't care, because the scene that comes straight after that is amazing, where we get the guy who they left behind, and he's sort of like in his middle ages because he slept at some points and he didn't, and then it's all that sort of stuff. But the best scene is probably when we see like Matthew McConaughey as he watches his children grow up, and it's horrible to watch. It's that well done. It's horrible to watch. It's pretty well made. And then we go to the other planet because they can only go to one other planet if they want to return home and do Plan A. We head there to this sort of really icy planet, and we find Matt Damon. Don't know what that was, but I need to do that again. Matt Damon. That was very amazing. I love that. Next Matt Damon film I see, I do that. Matt Damon. Right. It sounds more like I've got like the power. Enough talking about that. And we find he's been sleeping, and he's that captain guy that everybody's talking about. He's super brave, and we find out he's a coward. Basically, like everything he said about his planet is all made up, and Yeah. Honestly though, it's one of the best scenes in the film, I think. Like, Matthew McConaughey's like mask, helmet smashed, and he's like struggling to breathe in the atmosphere, and then they're going after him, and the music's amazing. It's like one of those really old horror films, the little cliched music that they have. But it's sped up and it's really intense, and that's probably the only way I can explain it. I love it. It's brilliant. The music's called Coward. You need to look that up on the Interstellar soundtrack and just listen to it. It's fantastic. But they go after him and then they pick him up, and it turns out that Matt Damon's went over and he's going back onto the spaceship, and then we get this moment in which he's trying to attach her to the space station, and they're like, Matt Damon, don't do it! Oh yeah, and the older guy died. He got blown up. The guy that was left behind the first time. Why does he always get left behind? I genuinely just don't think they like that guy. He just kept on dying. Like, they leave him for 27 years and then they blow him up. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, and they save the robot, by the way. They don't actually save the guy. Mainly because he's dead, but still. Matt Damon's trying to attach him to the ship, and they're like, no, Matt Damon, don't do it. And he's just like, screw you guys, and he goes through, and they're like, no, Matt Damon, don't. And he's like, Matthew McConaughey's telling lies about me. That was a terrible Matt Damon impression, but then Anne Hathaway has to go, and Anne Hathaway has to go, no, Matt Damon, don't do it. And so does Matthew McConaughey. He's like, no, Matt Damon, don't do it. And then Matt Damon does do it. He opens the airlock and then, which is what that thing I was doing at the start of the intro was. I have to explain that, because then we get this ship, and the ship's just like, and it's exploding. It's all quiet. And, I love watching stuff explode in space. Matt Damon's then blown out, and I genuinely knocked my entire row back. Like, the row that I was sitting in, I swear I was part of the film, because as soon as it blew up, it's like this sharp, and then it cuts out instantly because obviously it's in space and there's no sound in a vacuum, and it just go, whoa, man. I genuinely flew back. The entire row shook at the force that I went. I think I genuinely was catapulted out of the cinema. I think that was what the film was trying to do anyway. But it only happens with me. And I've done it again the second time I watched it. Except maybe not as much forced, it was more like, whoa. Except it wasn't the Keanu Reeves, whoa. And this ship's spinning around, it's going really fast, and then Matt Damon's dead. And then Matthew McConaughey's like, oh, we need to spin around at the same speed and attach. And I'm just like, okay. And then they do it, and we've got the epic music again and it's like from when Matt Damon was alive, and then it's so, and then they somehow managed to do that. I don't know what this looks like, so I'm going to stop that. But you get the point. They attach, and they come out. They're all climbing through the space shuttle. No, it's the space station, and they're all climbing through it. And all the power's gone because Matt Damon had to screw up everything, because he's a coward. Yeah, did I mention that? Matt Damon is a coward, right? He is nothing like what he said. I think you probably figured that out. And they find out they're now, after they have got onto the ship, they are now moving on the path to the black hole. The black hole is sucking them in. So they're like, right, okay. Oh yeah, and did I mention that Michael Caine didn't lie? The gravity and the big space shuttle, big space station that he wants to create to save all mankind, yeah, it's not going to happen unless they can manage to get into a black hole, through all the blackness, and then this really small light. It turns out the only Anne Hathaway can save, because everybody has to leave. The two robots go into the black hole, and so does Matthew McConaughey, in order to reduce the weight of the spaceship so they can go whoosh, and then Anne Hathaway goes on to the spaceship where the guy that she likes is on, or well, he was on. We don't know if he's alive or dead, and I don't think we ever found out. I think we were hinted at that he was dead, but he wasn't. No, wait, that he was dead, but he might also not be, so we don't know. She did walk over to the space station. Not the space station, some station that was there. So I don't know, maybe. I think he's in the black hole, and he's in the 5th dimension, but it's recalibrated to be in the 3rd dimension, if that makes any sense. And he's going through all the books, and he's trying to warn himself not to go, because it's all Murph's bedroom, and he's just like, no, don't leave. And that's a horrible thing to watch as well. like when he's desperately trying to get his own attention, trying to tell him not to go on his suicide mission basically, and stay with Murphy, and it's horrible. But then he realises, hang on, I'm inside a black hole, and my little robot friend has all the information that we need to save the human race. So they use Murph's bookcase to signal stuff and get them to go around the places so that it's not like, so it's an infinite circle, and then he inputs everything into his watch that he gives Murph, and then she finds it irritating. I did find was that Matthew McConaughey's son and Murphy's brother somehow became abusive. Like, there was no hint to it, he just all of a sudden was just like, right, I'm abusive now. And that happens, and that's the obstacle that Murphy has to deal with, but it's nothing really, because she finds the watch and then it's just like, Daddy gave me it! And he inputted everything, and then she hugs him, and then he hugs her. No, I don't think he hugs her, I think he's just, we're like standing there, he's just like, what is happening? And I was just like, okay, that's one way to resolve that problem. That's how you're meant to resolve all abusive relationships. Just hug them and then it's fine. I think that's what Christopher Nolan was trying to suggest with that, but you never know. And Murphy saves everything, and she's now got like the space station that's named after her second name, and Matthew McConaughey wakes up in her spaceship after, and he's now like 127, and Murphy, then he goes to see Murphy. Oh yeah, and we find out the space station's actually named after her second name, which I think I just said, and it's also that Matthew McConaughey can go and say, oh, you named after me, and then he realises that he didn't, because it's actually named after Murphy, but still. I didn't actually find any problems with that end, and quite a lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was alright. It was a really good opening, ending, I think. Why was it, how did I say opening? Oh yeah, that's because the little clips that they play, like, they play at the start, like, it's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. That's just pretty much what this film is. And then anyway, Matthew McConaughey then realises, yeah, I'm not going to stay around, my daughter's now dead, because yeah, he went to go and see Murph, and then Murph was like, go find Anne Hathaway. So he steals a spaceship and he goes to find Anne Hathaway, and then that's Interstellar. And as I said, this film was amazing. I really liked it, but there has a couple of problems, and if you're wondering what I'll give it a 9 out of 10. What was that? Today is like my day for amazing hand gestures, like Matt Damon. Yeah, how many times have I done that in this review? But yeah, it's a good film. As always, remember to like and subscribe, and I feel like asking you a question. What is your favourite Christopher Nolan film? Mine's, as I said, Interstellar. No, it's not, it's Inception, but don't take anything I say in this review for granted, because don't take it, bleh, yeah.